Life in plastic. It's fantastic. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Make certain to hit the like and subscribe button and ring that notification bell to be among the first to receive updates on videos like this and many others. So today, we're going to be talking about that's not normal. Normalcy, the striving for being normal, can actually be detrimental to your health and to the health of your loved ones. I'm going to take you back, way back to the 1950s, which for some people was not that long ago, but for other people, it's quite far. However, when we think of the 1950s, we oftentimes think of the perfect manicured lawns and the perfect homes and the perfect women with the perfect makeup and the perfect complexion and the perfect skin and the perfect food, the perfect housewife, the perfect husband. However, as it is today, nobody was really perfect. In fact, that striving to be seen as normal by the neighbors made several people end their lives. Back in 1959 in Los Feliz, there was a certain doctor that lived in a beautiful 1920s estate. It was stunning. All of the parties that happened there in the 30s and the 40s, what a beautiful place it was. Well, this doctor struggled to keep up with the bills. He wasn't doing well. He had been losing money and things were slow. So in late December, he had all that he could take. And he looked over and he saw his wife and he bludgeoned her to death in her sleep. Then he went down the corridor and found his daughter and bludgeoned her. But her screams awakened her brothers and they ran to the neighbors and called the police. But the story doesn't end here, because this gentleman, this doctor, decided that he wanted to go downstairs to the bar and make himself a nice cocktail of broken glass and battery acid. He was dead when they found him. Later, he was discovered, of course, about all of the bills that he really had nothing to his name, that he was trying to keep up. He was living beyond his means, trying to keep up with the neighbors. Well, this house then ended up by having quite a sad fate thereafter. In 1960, the house was sold at auction because, nobody wanted it. It was a murder house. So this woman inherited it. She had it. She never lived in it. She used it as storage. Her son then inherited it from her. Well, recently he passed away and didn't have an heir, and the house came on the market again. Unfortunately, it had been lived in by vagrants and by drug addicts and used as a fop house for prostitutes. So it still may be for sale. You can look up the Los Feliz murder house, and I'm certain you'll find lovely pictures. But I also want to take you here in the 1950s to Pasadena. A friend of mine lived in a beautiful house his parents bought in the 1950s. They bought it really, really cheap. They couldn't understand why such a great house in such a desirable neighborhood was so cheap. Well, it turns out that he discovered that years ago, back in the 1950s, there was a gentleman, good Christian man, upstanding, member of the community, and again in late December, decided that he too had enough. His family went to church, they sang Christmas carols, and one of the friends of his daughter decided that she wanted to spend the night. Of course, everyone agreed. Late that evening, early in the morning, he awakened this visitor, took her to the pool house, and said, "Don't come in. You can't stay here. You can't stay here. Sleep in the pool house." So he goes in and he bludgeons his wife to death, and then he shoots his child, and then he decides, I have had enough with this world. I can't keep up with the image of perfection. So he went into the bathroom, turned on the gas heater, and chained himself to the pipe. Well, this girl that was in the pool house, she woke up. She ended up by getting over to her parents, who came and knocked on the door, tried to figure out why their daughter was not allowed to sleep in the house, and nobody answered. Fearing foul play, they called the police. The police, of course, not getting a response, busted down the door. And they found this man chained to the heater. Unfortunately, or fortunately for him, he had left the window open, and all of that gas had escaped. Well, they took him to his holding cell, and he hanged himself. Even still, a more personal note. Again, back in the 1950s. My mother married someone that, for better or worse, she married him. And they had a perfect home. It was lovely. They always had a brand new car. And the neighbors would come in and they would be afraid to walk in. They would go to take their shoes off because, oh, your house is so perfect. Well, my mother's first husband would tell her, I'm going to kill myself. I can't do this anymore. I'm going to kill myself. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill the children. I'm going to kill what ended up by being my half-siblings. And one day, after all of the torment and all of the torture, Quentin came to her one time while she was washing dishes, and he said, I would kill you right now if the children were home, because I would kill them too, and then I would kill myself. But I don't want my children going to foster care, so it's your lucky day. And my mother turned to her then husband and said, I can't handle this anymore. Do whatever you're going to do to me, do whatever you're going to do to you. I can't handle this anymore. He sneered at her. He went down into the cellar, and my mother heard 2 gunshots. Well, this wasn't anything uncommon because he was oftentimes shooting holes into the house because he was under intense pressure. And my mother also, I should mention, is clairvoyant. She's a medium and a psychic, and she opened the cellar door and saw Quentin standing at the bottom of the stairs, and she said, what's going on? What is it? What happened? What is it? And that's when she heard a strange gurgling sound. She turned on the lights and found him dead on the cellar floor. He had ended his life with a shotgun. It had backfired, so that accounts for the 2 shots. But she picked him up and his whole backside dissolved. That was a very hard thing for anyone to experience, but my mother was very strong. I am eternally grateful that my half-siblings, my siblings were not at home, because I may not be here today. The thing is, the major thing that I like to tell people, that I like to do, is live your life. Live your fullest life. Do what makes you happy. Harm no one, but do what makes you happy. There is a lot of pressure, I know. Even to this day, the pressures have changed ever so slightly, but that's because people are filling their children with hatred and violence, and they tell them you need to be a hero. You need to be a hero, and they try all of these shooters that you've seen in schools and across this nation. They want to be the hero. They see themselves as heroes, and they try to fit in with that normal mindset. They think it's normal, even though it is not normal. It is not normal. In fact, it's okay to be yourself. It's okay to be strange, because I'm going to tell you a word of advice. Other people's opinions of you are none of your business. And now, here's a word from my friend the devil and Asmodeus.
Well, while Asmodeus is letting his freak flag fly, I am doing whatever floats my goat. Okay, floats my... Back to you in the studio.
Thank you so much, and thank you. Make certain to hit the like and subscribe, and thank you for all of the comments. Check me out on Patreon. If you can give it a little bit here and there, whatever it may be, we appreciate you, we love you, we have a lot of things coming up for you, and as always, I'm your host, Richard-Lael Lillard, the Gentleman Psychic.